Alright guys, we're going to do a video on the LavaGen. I'm going to show you how to adjust the center pin, how to adjust the direction of your wick hole, and how to set up stainless steel as well as horizontal silica. Anyway, you're going to get your LavaGen. It's going to look something like this when you get it in the mail. And pretty much what you want to do is pop this out. You want to take this O-ring off, and you want to put a little bit of Vaseline or a little bit of food grade silicone on there, just a little bit. Put it back on. Then first thing you're gonna do is you're going to adjust your center pin. So pretty much what you do is you take your Phillips head. This is the top of the LavaGen, that's the bottom. The adjustment for the positive connector is at the top, so you kind of just back it off until it's pretty well deep in there. Can't really see it that well, but and you take the mod that you want to use. In this case, we're going to use a ProVary. I'm going to screw it all the way on. Now, if you notice, the wick hole is on the button side. I want that wick hole on the back side. That's the fill hole. That's the wick hole. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate. I'm going to back this off till the wick hole is in the direction I want it, which is about 5 o'clock for me. Alright. Then once I got it where I want it, I'm going to take the Phillips head and I'm going to tighten up the positive connector till it stops. Now that positive connector is making contact, positive pin is making contact with the connector on the mod, and my wick hole is in the neighborhood of where I want it. Now there's a jam nut. Let's see here if we can get a close up. Let's try it like this. There's a spacer. First your thumb screw, all right. Then you have a spacer, a small spacer underneath the thumb screw, and then you have a larger spacer on the underneath this smaller spacer. But this one is threaded. So essentially, what you want to do is after your positive pin is tightened up, you want to tighten up this spacer, and I use a pair of needle nose, and pretty much could advance it by hand till it's just snug, and then take your needle nose and just kind of snug that up a little bit. You don't want to horse it, you just want it tight enough where the positive pin is not going to move anymore. So now pretty much you can take this off, put it back on. Your wick hole is going to be in the location you want it to be. In my case, on the back side of the ProVary. And that's it, you're done. That's as far as your adjustments. Now if you move this to another mod, you're going to have to change that to get the direction of the air hole where you want it. But I think this is a really great thing we did, because that was one of my pet peeves with other Genesis, is that your air hole would wind up just wherever it wound up and you had no adjustment at all. So I think this is a big I think everybody's going to like this adjustment. Anyway, let's get to stainless steel. So take this off. We're going to put your lava tank bottom on the LavaGen. You know what, I'm going to use my little tool here. Okay, so now we got the LavaGen, lava tank bottom. What I take is now a 3/32 drill bit. We're going to use the smooth end. What I'll do is I'm going to take a little bit of sandpaper and I'm just going to kind of roll it around in the sandpaper just to get any burrs off if there's any crap on it. So just so it's nice and smooth. I'm going to take my wire now. This is 33 Canthal. Most of you guys are probably using 32. What I want to do is I'm going to wrap my coil right on this drill bit. I'm going to do 5 wraps. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to grab the 2 tail ends. And I'm going to kind of, I don't know if you can see. Let's see if this camera can focus. Anyway, you want to get this pretty tight. You just want it so the wire is, the coils are real close together, and that's what you'll wind up with on the drill bit. Let's see if you can see that. There you go. Alright, now I'm going to take the drill bit now with the wire on it, and I'm going to drop it right into the wick hole on the LavaGen. Now I'm going to take my 2 wires. Let's see if you can get in there. These 2 wires are going to go in between the positive and the negative connector. Make sure the drill bit is in there, and pretty much it's holding. Let's see here if I can get this. Okay, so now you see on the ground there is a spacer underneath the ground. Let's see, can we get this focused? Damn it. I really want you guys to see this. You see there's a spacer under the ground screw. Come on. There you go, you can see it now, I think. There you go. See, there's the spacer, there's the ground screw. This is the spacer. We want the ground wire to go underneath this spacer, the bottom. So I'm going to wrap the bottom wire right around the bottom of the spacer. Then I'm going to tighten the ground wire, tighten it up, and then I'm going to take my ground and I'm just going to wiggle it off. Now my positive, let's see, I'm going to try this again now. Back off this thumb screw a little bit. Okay, you can see there's this spacer now. You got the thumb screw, and you got the small spacer, and you got the large spacer. All right, we want the wire to go in between the large spacer and the small spacer. So let's see here. I'm going to wrap that around, and then we're going to tighten our thumb screw. And I got the tag line. I'm going to just wiggle off. Now pretty much what you're left with is a really nicely wrapped, let's see if you can see that, yep, really nicely wrapped coil. But what I want to do now is I want to fix them up. So I want to make sure that my ground is not touching Alright, pretty much what we're going to do is, just like you do on any other Genesis mod, is just arrange your coils. Take your time. As Mike Zen says, patience. Take your time. I definitely agree with him on that. Let's see how they look now. Yep, they look pretty good. So now here is a little trick that I do. I don't know if somebody else has done this before, but I'm going to show you guys. I take a pair of tweezers. Now I'm going to just squeeze the top part of the coil to kind of make a kink in that lead wire that's going from the positive to the coil itself. I don't even know if I hope you guys can see this. So what I'm going to do is just kind of pinch it and push a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. I'm going to kind of push and squeeze it. And what I'm doing is I'm creating a kink in the wire from the coil to the positive connector. Let me show you. Maybe I can. At this point, what we're going to do is we're going to take the drill bit out. Now you got your coils. Assuming you got your coils all arranged where you like the way they look, they're all evenly spaced. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to wiggle this out. Let's see here. I'm going to try to wiggle this out nice and easy without making a mess of the coil. And it should slide out nice. Now, let's see if you guys can see it. Pretty much what you're left with is a really nice, perfect coil. Now, let's see if you can see the kinks I made. Hang on. Let's see if we can show them. Let's see here. Come on, focus. Damn it. Alright, we're gonna try it again. I really want you guys to see this. It was almost there. Can't get it in focus. Damn it. Let's try to take it off here. Okay. I don't know if you guys could see it. Yeah, maybe you can. See the wire kind of got a kink at the coil and then it goes straight. And if you look at the base, if you look at the the ground. It's got the same thing. Kind of just kinks. You can definitely see the positive. Anyway, let's put this on the mod and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Those kinks kind of make it real easy to not to get a hot spot. Let's see where we're at. We're at 2.5, 2.6. So I'm going to bump this up to, let's say, like 4.6, 4.8. Yeah, we'll go 4.8. Now, if you watch the coil, you'll see the coil lights up, but the lead wires don't. I don't know if you could even see it. But what's happening is the coil itself is lighting, but the wires that are going from the coil to the positive and the negative connector, they're not lighting. So it's kind of, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's kind of hard to tell on the camera. Trust me, it's working. Anyway, we got a really nicely wrapped set up coil. Now we're going to take a piece of wick. This has already been oxidized. This is 45 millimeter by 25 millimeter. And I rolled it without a hole in the center. I rolled it really, really tight. This is actually 500 mesh. And what you want to do is you want to roll this tight enough that it's going to slide through those coils, but you don't want it to fall through those coils. So let's see what we got here now. Okay, see right now? It fell in there, that's too loose. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that and we're just going to kind of roll it backwards. And what that does is kind of fluff it up a little bit. Makes it a little bit thicker. And I like it that it's fluffed up. I think it wicks better like this personally. But you want this wick to slide in those coils with enough resistance that it's not going to fall through. So you want it, okay, see that? This is actually going in perfectly. No, still too loose. So we're gonna fluff it up a little more. We're gonna fluff that up a little more. And the way I fluff it up is I'm just pretty much rolling it backwards so that it's kind of thickening up the wick a little bit. And I'm going to try that again. There we go. That's what we want. We want a little bit of resistance on that when it's going in. See, it's kind of pulling the coils a little bit, but it's not really too tight. It's snug enough to hold it in place. See, now I got the top of the wick I usually put just below the bottom of the thumb screw. Alright? So now what I do is double check my coils, make sure that they're all still spaced nice. You might have to give it a little bit of a tweak here or there. For the most part, it's pretty good. Let's see. And we have a nicely lit coil. No hot spots. No. I mean, I could never wrap a coil. I was the worst. And ever since I found this Peter K method, I think is what they call it, this has really made a big difference. Because every single coil I wrap like this is perfect. Never have an issue. And that little trick with the tweezers, that eliminates any hot spot that you would normally get. Let me see if I could show you. That if you get a hot spot between here and the wick, that it's kinked right here at the base where it meets the coil. That straight piece, and it's kinked right there. And that kink has something to do with it. I'm not getting any hot spots anymore ever since I started doing it. I do that on the ground side and the positive side. Anyway, now what you do is you take your tube, you slide your tube over the top. Don't seat it yet. Rotate it till you get your air hole in the location, generally where we want, then pop it on. You could still move it around a little bit. Take your top cap. Actually, you want to fill it first. I'm not going to fill it because I'm going to do another, show you how to do the silica wick. Put your top cap on and you're good to go. And you'll see it'll light up in there again. This thing blows clouds of vapor. I will, after I'm done with the video, I'll set it up again and I'll show you guys what it can do. I know this is going to be a long video, but I really want to get everything to show you guys. Alright, we're going to take out my beautifully wrapped coil here. We're going to do a silica setup now. Now silica. Let's start with the wick. Okay. This is a piece of 3mm silica wick. I usually get this from silicawicks.com or Stormy's Vapor Cellar. She's Carolyn's great. She's got a lot of good. She's got nice wick there. So just gonna kind of wet the end a little bit, and we're gonna throw this 3mm right through the wick hole. It fits beautifully. It fits loose. You don't want it choking it. Alright, we're just going to let that sit there. That's just going to sit there for now. We're going to make the other wick now. This is 3.5mm. I use a single piece. You guys can use 2-3 mils or whatever. You don't want this wick too fat. This is where the coil is going to get wrapped. Now you're going to take your wire. We're going to wrap this counterclockwise. Because of the way the wire is going to sit on the positive and negative connector, you really need to do this counterclockwise. So we're going to do 4 wraps. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Let's see if you guys can see what it looks like. You know, you can go more than 4 if you want. I'm just trying to make life easy for myself for this video. Usually I make them with 5 or 6. Pretty much same thing. Just straighten out your coil a little bit. See if you could see it. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to take, a little different than the way we set up the stainless. We're going to take the negative wire, is going to go in between the positive and negative post, and that's going to get attached to the top side. Let me see if I can get it in here. I'm losing it. Alright. You see the spacer on the ground? Let's see if you can see the spacer on the ground. It's hard to see. Anyway, you got a spacer underneath the ground screw. You want this wire to be in between the top of the spacer and the bottom of the ground screw, not all the way on the bottom. And what you do is wrap that around there. All right. Tighten down your ground. Okay. Wiggle that off. Now your ground is connected. Now take your positive, put it on the outside this time. That's going to go same spot in between the 2 spacers, not under the ground screw. You want to be in between the large and small spacer. Then tighten it up. wiggle off the end here. Oops. Let's try that again. Guess I didn't make it tight enough. There we go. Alright, now, here's what you got. You still got this piece of silica. This is the 3 mil that's going into the tank through the wick hole, and this is actually coming behind the horizontal wick. So what you want to do is kind of just fix your wick a little bit. Make sure your coils are all straightened out, which mine are actually looking real good. Let me just take another peek. Alright. Now, we're going to cut the top of the wick that's going through the tube. We're going to cut it right at the bottom of the thumb screw. So you'll see right now, that's what you're left with. Now the bottom, I usually just cut it right at the bottom of the top of the bottom cap, just like that. What you're doing is you are allowing the juice from the tank to wick up, and then it's touching the horizontal, and it wicks really well. Then you cut this side by the ground side, and we leave this side longer so that when you wrap it around, it's going to sit in the well. It's going to wrap around the back side. Any excess juice will get soaked up in there. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off of this. And that's pretty much what you're left with. Alright, now you take your tube, put your wick in there, run this down. Now see that extra piece? Just want to take and just tuck it in there. So this is what you're left with. You got your wick in the front, and then you got the tail that's just wrapping around the back. Pop your cap on. Make sure your air hole is positioned way in front of the coil. Turn it around until it's fit in front of the coil, and you're good to go. .8, 1.9. And 4.2, and you'll see that baby fire up in there. Look at that. Anyway, another thing I want to show you too is if you want to service your coil. A lot of people are saying that, well, you got one piece tube, it's a pain in the ass. It's not really a pain in the ass. This is a 24 millimeter 510 to 510 adapter. I got this from Totally Wicked. You can pretty much buy these anywhere, but you want to get the stainless steel. I mean, if you get the one with the paint on it, you could always sand off the paint. There's a little bit of a lip here, right where this brass is. So you want to do is you want to take a little sandpaper and just kind of smooth that out. Doesn't take much. Screw it onto your mod. This is an Ego cone for, you know, it's cheap. I think it's like $2, $3. You drop that on the top. So now you got your adapter, and you got your little cone there, just sitting in there. Screw on your LavaGen. Grab the tube and the bottom cap together. Give it a little twist and a little push, and that will go right down. Now you can service your coil without losing any juice. When you're done, you grab it, same spot, just slide it up nice and easy, and then you're good. You could take it off. You didn't lose a drop of juice. Anyway, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, you know where to find me. I think I covered just about everything there is to know about this. I'm sure you guys will figure out some new ways, but I hope this helps. Thanks a lot.